So this is Good Morning Santa Paula. It's Thursday, May 20th, and our guest today is Mayor Carlos Juarez, and he's going to update us on a whole variety of issues today, and we appreciate him coming. Good morning, Carlos. It's always nice seeing you.
Good morning, Peggy, Kelly, and equally, it's always nice to see you.
Yeah, very good, very good. So should we start out with with COVID? I know that that's been something we've all been dealing with for quite a while, so we might as well get going with that. And I know you have some updates on that.
I do. Well, first of all, depending on where we are with the state, it looks like June 15th is this date that we're all looking forward to when hopefully the mask mandate comes down to the point where, it's personal choice, but they're recommending up until that point to wear masks. So because some of the numbers are falling, we're still in the orange tier, but we're close to being in the yellow tier. So the county has taken into account where we are in the tier, where the facts are, where the metrics are in the whole COVID situation in our county, and decided that apparently there's not enough of a need to continue to have the vaccine site at Kmart available. So they're going to be closing effective May 26th. Now, I know there's been some outreach. I spoke with John Marquez this morning. There has been some outreach at like the Guadalupe Church, and they're possibly contemplating doing other sites in town, specifically to target areas either with Hispanic communities or elderly communities or places where people congregate, to try to get vaccination sites to the people instead of them having to go to Kmart. So that information is forthcoming.
So in other words, they'd have pop-up sites like in different neighborhoods or at different, maybe even like have one senior center or something like that.
Yes.
Have pop-ups. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that certainly makes sense. Now, do you have any idea how many people have been vaccinated in Ventura County to date?
I don't to date, but I thought I'd heard it was about 60% or something around that figure, and I know that changes, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm very proud of people that are getting vaccinated, and I thank them, and we all thank them. Businesses in Santa Paula, let's hear some money news. I know that the county has stepped up once again to the plate.
Yes, I'd heard this morning from Jonathan Roya. He said that all businesses in Santa Paula who had received either round one or round two of the $5,000 grant from the county will automatically receive another $5,000. Now, the county is still looking for ways to help businesses that have not received theirs. So there's still hope out there for those folks that are struggling and trying to get back on their feet, and surely this will help.
Absolutely. And there are other programs too that that are available that I think that I know they have like special funds for restaurants. Mm-hmm. They have special funds for theater and arts and things like that. So people should really just go to vcrecovers.com and start looking there and maybe get some references. Now, speaking of helping local businesses in town, the Chamber of Commerce, the City Council just made a decision about helping people, helping funding for business. Could you explain that, please?
Sure. Well, as you know, the city is one of many cities that received some money from the government, the American Rescue Plan. And we, in the next 2 years, plan to receive about $5.6 million. Now, that's a great amount of money, but it has to be for those things that are COVID-related and one-time expenditures, or to continue with the efforts of COVID relief. So one of the things that the council approved last night was this round was $10,000 in funds to help support outreach efforts to local businesses in town. And the chamber will be partnering with community groups to spread the word in Spanish and English and make sure all businesses in town know what programs are available to assist them with rent relief, utility relief, etc. And that's just one aspect of the American Rescue Plan, that portion of the council money.
Right. And did the council, did they decide on other spending that's coming up?
They did. And because some of the money right now, we want to make sure that it gets out to the entities and people that need it the most. I'll go over some of them. So for example, the council last night approved $150,000 to the homeless shelter Spirit. And what we're hoping is that the county will be hopefully kicking in about $500,000 to help expand the Arbor year-round homeless shelter, kind of our contribution to see if they will increase it to $500,000. Another aspect that we approved, it was a reduced waived recreation fees, $25,000. And what this specifically was for is to allow reduced or waived fees for those families and sports organizations needing financial assistance. It also will be to assist with facility rental offsets, scholarships, or fee reductions for low-income families for summer camp and rep programs, because as you know, this last year, COVID just really affected our youth and sports and family events. So we're hoping that that will help to, for those entities that could not fundraise, it will help them to establish these activities for youth. Another thing that we approved was $85,000 for a mobile activity center. And this is to purchase a truck and trailer along with startup equipment to go around neighborhood parks during the summer and provide enhanced activities and programs right in the children's neighborhoods. So bringing it to them, and of course they're in their environment and hopefully they can be out. So if there's still any concerns about indoor activities, maybe they can do it at a park or in the neighborhoods. Employee enhancements. As you know, the city took some considerable steps to ensure that if there was a loss of income, that the city wouldn't be in too bad a shape. So that consisted of reductions in employee benefits and pay. So in order to counteract that, there was part of the money we allocated was to help provide one-time premium pay to city staff who worked through the pandemic as essential workers, and kind of a thank you for the sacrifice that many of our employees who are essential workers did. And also, as you know, we are moving towards either managing our own staff at the wastewater treatment plant or hiring another company to oversee it. The company that recently was overseeing it, when they vacated the building, they had a lot of their own equipment. So in order for us to ensure that we can continue to provide the services, we have to buy some replacement equipment. So we allocated $90,000 to replace equipment when the previous contractor ended operations at the wastewater recycling facility.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's an investment in the future too, because now, and just so people understand, the COVID, these American Rescue Plan funds are very tightly controlled as far as what the city can actually allot them to. So you have to follow guidelines. You have to show that there's a relation between that and COVID as far as a loss of activities or anything like that, and also for infrastructure needs and things like that. So there's, and they're going to be getting about half in the next 30 days, and then about a year from now, I believe they'll be getting the other half of the money.
That's correct.
Oh boy, well that's about a third, or actually a little more than a third of the annual budget. So that's wonderful. I'm really pleased. I'm glad. And of course, Santa Paula is not the only city to have this, and it's great. Okay, now you had your strategic planning session. How did that go? I know that that's been a long process already.
It has, and there's a whole lot of work that occurs before we arrive to go over the directions the staff is recommending. And so, and this was actually one of the first times that our council and all city staff were together in the same room. So we met at the cultural arts building with the doors open and talk about masks and spacing. And of course, because we have to set the example, because there were some public speakers there at least one of the sessions. And it was a very healthy discussion of the strategic plan. As you know, the strategic plan is deciding what direction the council wants to support, whether it's downtown improvement, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's providing for homeless, all these aspects, so that they don't have to keep coming back into session, or because we can't make these decisions in individuals, it has to be as a group. So to put together a strategic plan so that our city staff knows the direction of the council, it gives them the benefit of knowing what things they can do, and then just bring us basically the final product for approval or not.
So in other words, it helps prioritize. It helps prioritize what the,
That's exactly what I was trying to think of, prioritizing, and it really helps. And you can't say enough about everybody that puts all the work into it, because it's a tremendous amount of work. It's not quite done yet. In fact, we had a facilitator who now is taking the 3 sessions that we've had so far and bringing it back as for the final review, and then it will be adopted. And that should be fun.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's wonderful, and I know it's a lot of plans. Now, Arbor Day, you had first ever Arbor Day in Santa Paula, and I've seen wonderful photos, and I sent a photographer, and it looked like it's wonderful to see people planting trees. It really is. So would you tell us something about it?
I sure will. Well, first of all, you're probably the person that may answer. Have we ever had an Arbor Day before, to your recollection?
To my recollection, the city has never had a formal Arbor Day ceremony. Now, you've been here longer than I have. How about you, Mr. Mayor? Do you remember them ever having Arbor Day?
I sure don't. I sure don't. But I will tell you that this Arbor Day event, we knew we were going to have it. And when I read the proclamation, it just makes you realize things that we just take for granted, that the air we breathe and the environment we live in is enhanced by the beauty of trees, right? Because they provide oxygen for us, they provide beauty, they provide safety. So when I read that proclamation, it really made me think about how important trees are. So then we get out to Ebell Park, because that was where they were going to plant 7 trees the other day, and we invited the community, and our public works people came out and dug the holes and prepped everything, and there was a whole lot of people from all over. It was Rotary and the Theater Center and John and Leslie Nichols and just American Bloom, Jose Malgar. I'm probably forgetting some people, but a lot of people came out to prep it, including the Parks and Recreation Department and all their staff. They went out there and prepped everything and got it ready. And so when we got there, there was a few, things that were said about Arbor Day. There was things said about the actual location. Marion Krause gave a history of Ebell Park and, how it used to, I think people know there used to be a lake there at Ebell Park, and it went away several years ago. But then kind of towards the culmination of the ceremony, we talked a little bit about the importance of trees and safety and beauty. And then we had, I read the proclamation there for everybody. And then we had youth from the FFA came up and read the poem about trees. And that was a great closing for that. And then everybody picked up a shovel and got to their different trees, which, some were sponsored by different groups or individuals in town. And we started burying the trees. And then the people, the Parks and Rec people and the city yard folks, they made sure that everything was adequately watered, and then we had a very light lunch. But that's only phase 1, because there was, after people heard that there were sponsorships by either businesses or people, Mr. Barnes, our Parks and Recreation Director, said that he already received 3 requests to sponsor trees for the next round. And those would be, I think he's looking at maybe Las Piedras Park or, other places in town that, that lose trees. And I made a joke at one time, and I think you've heard it, that when a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Well, it does, but there's nobody around to hear it. But whenever a tree falls in Santa Paula, do we replace it? And, for years and years, we didn't have a budget to replace trees. So when one fell, they were gone. And we just recently lost a huge tree at that park, which, I bet you that thing was 60, 70, maybe 100 years old, and it fell over. And now you notice the open area. So these trees we planted, it's going to be years before they're mature, but this is definitely a good start. And I know that the city manager is looking to set up a budget so that when we lose a tree, we replace it. And then also with the folks and groups in town that want to sponsor them, I think there's not going to be a shortage of trees in the next few years. And my understanding is that this Arbor Day is going to be a yearly event.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, and I noticed too that the trees that were planted are good sized trees. It's not a matter of somebody sticking a twig in the ground and just, I mean, these were, do you know what variety it was? What kind of trees they were at all?
They mentioned, I think they mentioned both the scientific name and the common name, but I don't recall what they are, but there were 7 trees that they planted.
Yeah, but they were different ones, weren't they? They were all different trees. Yes.
Not all, there might have been a couple of the same species, but yes, there were several different trees.
Sure, yeah, and Ebell Park, of course, does have a wonderful history, as does the Ebell Clubhouse, which now is the Theater Center. And it's located on the corner of 7th and Main Street.
Yes.
And it's a lovely place. Yeah, that was very nice. Now, they had a senior event because it was Seniors Week or Seniors Day or.
Well, we signed a proclamation for appreciation of seniors, and this was a senior barbecue for Older Americans Month. So I think
Okay.
I think I qualified. So I was there as well.
I'm not a
But
senior, I'm older.
but I will tell you, it was
Not older,
for
senior.
all the folks that were there that I got to talk to. There was just a underlying sense of joy that they were seeing their friends again
Oh,
in actual open space, and they used the cultural arts building, social distancing as much as they could, and of course I would imagine most of those folks have been vaccinated. So they talked about their experiences during COVID, but the biggest thing I heard from folks was the fact that they missed out on family and friends and events like the senior center. The senior center does provide, or used to provide, a lunch once a month for seniors, and this was a good chance for people to get together. And so again, you got to give credit to all the staff from the senior center who cooked inside the main senior center, and then our Parks and Recreation Department who brought up the barbecue trailer, and we had 3 police officers from the PD who was cooking the barbecue. Let me make sure I acknowledge them real quick. You had officers White Gates, Chris Rivera, and Eric Burnett, who were cooking, and they were happy as heck to be cooking. And my understanding, we'll talk about that in a bit, but they're going to be cooking in the next weeks for the Canine fundraiser. But so in addition to all of those folks that work behind the scenes, is the Parks and Rec and the senior staff, but also Liz Castaneda, who's just phenomenal at organizing these, and she was happy to have many of those folks back as well. So it was a
oh,
great.
I bet. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, and of course, they would have a party every month and daily meals, Monday through Friday, but they would have the big gathering every month. Every month would have a theme, and that was always so much fun. Now, and of course, we do have the Canine chicken barbecue dinner on Tuesday night.
We do, and my understanding, I don't think it's changed yet, but it's going to be a drive-through because they want to again make sure we set the example. I know they were asking the county to see if it was okay to provide indoor seating, but even at last night's council meeting, they announced that it was still going to be a drive-through. So you can pre-purchase tickets at the Mighty Santa Paula Times for this Canine chicken dinner. I don't have the hours in front of me, unfortunately, but isn't it like 5 to 7?
Police station. The hours are 5 to 7 or 7:30. I'm not even sure. I should look, but plenty of time. It's only $15 a ticket.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and and I also heard that the chief of police might be an agitator for some of the canines that are going to be wandering around, so the people picking up their dinners could see maybe a little bit of police action with canines.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Actually, it's going to be a lot of fun just to drive through and see it. I'm looking forward to it because I know they always have such a wonderful sit down dinner, but they weren't able to do anything last year because COVID hit at about the same time. So I'm just delighted that everybody's going to be able to enjoy it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to fun now.
And when we talk about many people behind the scenes, sometimes we forget that the driving force behind some of these fundraisers are the Santa Paula Police and Canine Foundation. They've been at it before when we had our fire department, they were the Santa Paula Police and Fire Foundation, but they changed it to a couple other names, but one of them is the Santa Paula Police and Canine Foundation. And there's several people involved on the board. One person who's been constant for years, of course, we know is Debbie Johnson, and so she just loves canines, and I think most people like canines, and so it's going to be a great event. And I can tell you the chicken was it was great. So
like that. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I already have my tickets. So, and be sure, and they'll have a limited number of walk-up dinners.
Yes.
But if people don't get a ticket, and you really should though, but if not, you can give it a shot. Not guaranteed they'll be able to serve you, but they will have a limited number of walk-up meals. And then, of course, there's no rest for the wicked because the next night is the Chamber Awards, and you are going to be giving the State of the City address, which I will be.
And I believe, aren't you going to be recognized for something, Ms. Peggy Kelly?
I'm going to be recognized. I am coy. Citizen of the Year. Yes, thank you.
And congratulations to you. Well deserved as Citizen of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yes, I will be giving the State of the City. And as you know, last year we didn't have a Chamber of Awards in person; it was virtual. So Mayor Rick Ariza was able to give the State of the City, but it was by a virtual presentation. Doesn't lessen the fact that everybody that received awards are well deserved of the awards they were recognized for. It's just unfortunate that it had to have been done by Zoom. But then again, if it's by Zoom, that means it's probably never going to go away and always available for eternity. So that's the plus side of it. And so this one, I don't think it's going to be a hybrid. I mean, I haven't heard if it's going to be both in person and Zoom or recorded, but hopefully they will record it for folks that can't attend, because it is limited seating because of COVID. So
Yes.
it will be next Wednesday at Palacios Event Center, and there will be kind of not a sit down dinner, but it'll be appetizers for those first arriving for the first hour. There will be a cash bar, and then of course there'll be the state of the city, which I will give, and I'll try to keep it short. I'll keep it under 2 hours, and then there'll be, of course, the most important part of the evening, which is the presentation and acknowledging and recognizing all the award recipients for all their work and dedication to our community.
We've got some really, really great people getting awards. I'm very honored to be amongst them, quite honestly. They've got some great people. And yes, and I'm looking forward to your state of the city. And let's see, I guess that pretty well catches us up right now. Do you have anything you'd like to add, or I didn't ask you that I should have, or last thoughts?
I will. We just, and I say we just as a city, but really it's the Santa Paula Police Officers Association who just started cruise night again. Something
Yes.
that's been missed for all of last year. So I went to the Santa Paula Cruise Night, and I saw people that literally some I hadn't seen in a year. And everybody's really happy to be out in public and talking to folks. And you look around and there's some people with masks, some people without masks. And this couple came up to me and said, "Are we supposed to be wearing masks?" And I said, "They recommend in public, that you wear it. You don't have to if you've been vaccinated or if you've had a negative test." But the other day, and I'll just say this, and this is my thoughts, we all have a responsibility, number one, to take care of ourselves. And Miss Donna Nelson the other day said, "I don't ever say anything to anybody if they're not wearing a mask, but if I choose to wear a mask, it's because it's my duty to protect myself and my family." And I thought that's a pretty good statement, because, it's your own personal choice, how you want to be in public, or, if you're in a large group or short group. But if you feel you should wear a mask to protect your family, maybe you have compromised, other people in your family or friends, you do it for yourself and for them. And I think I'll just close with that. It's a personal choice, but certainly by doing that, you are safeguarding yourself, and you also set an example. There will be a time, hopefully, when we go back to what's considered near normal, but I can honestly see at some point masks are probably here to stay for a while. And I also hope that outside dining at our restaurants is here to stay, because that is such a great thing to be able to sit outside during the summer and any time of the year, and just fresh air and eating outside with your friends.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you're the mayor. You'll have to talk to City Hall about making that permanent and bring it back to the council.
I think it's being looked at for consideration.
They add so much ambience to the downtown. It's fun, and it's great. Yeah, the only good thing that might have come from COVID, But anyway, well, Carlos, we always appreciate you stopping by, Mr. Mayor, and we will be seeing you this week. And thank you for taking the time today to come in and update the citizens about what's going on in Santa Paula, where there's always so much going on. And once again, I'm Peggy Kelly with the Mighty Santa Paula Times. You'll be able to watch this on cable channel 10 or kadytv.com. If you watch on YouTube, be sure to hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps bring us broadcasting like this to you. Be sure to have a wonderful weekend. Be very COVID smart. Be COVID smart and safe, of course. And again, Carlos, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome, Peggy. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.